You are listening to the Lingerie Success Podcast, the first podcast of its kind committed to practical and actionable marketing strategies, business advice, interviews, and tools to help your lingerie store thrive. Are you ready? So let's get started.
Hello, Lingerie Success Podcast listeners, and welcome to episode 8 of our podcast. This week, I am joined here by Kris and Angel, and we will be talking about dominating local SEO as a lingerie retailer. So it's a big topic for us today. SEO is definitely dense. There's a lot to talk about, and we're excited to get started. But first, I wanted to check in with my co-hosts. How are you doing today, Kris?
Very good, very good. Dominating sounds scary.
It does. It does. It definitely does. But we promise to not make it scary. And as always, we promise to provide practical, actionable advice to help your lingerie store thrive. And Angel, how are you doing today?
Pretty good, pretty good. I'm ready to start dominating or conquering SEO, maybe controlling, rounding up SEO, summarizing.
Well, we are ready too. So let's get started. Kris, if you could help our retailers and tell us a little bit about SEO. So what is SEO? And even more importantly, what's SEO optimization?
Sure. Well, SEO stands for search engine optimization. Basically setting up your content or your website to be friendly so that Google and other search engines can find it, index it, and list it so your website or web pages can be found. Once your web pages are listed on the search engines, they rank them based on different factors. But the main thing is the relevance and quality of your content. We talked about this on last week's podcast about the relevance and as well as the quality of content that you have. And then, it's good to know that some keywords, key phrases are tougher to rank for. So there's a lot of factors that go into this for you to be able to get found online. There's billions of web pages on the web today. The goal of the search engines like Google is to serve up the most relevant, insightful, quality content to their viewers. Most people, I don't know anybody that does not use Google, right? You go look for a restaurant, you're finding what bra you want to buy. There's a lot of things that you do in Google that, you're basically reading content that other people are creating. So the main idea of SEO is, think about a campaign. Think about a politician. When they have a message to speak, they have a message to communicate to the world. And when they're endorsed by certain people, they get more, they get their message out there more. And when they're endorsed by bigger people, like maybe a former president, another big politician, a celebrity, for example, then their message gets wider even more. So the context and the concept of SEO is really developing the content as your candidate and using specific optimization strategies to make that candidate be more accessible to people, and then having other people talk about your content or your candidate to be able to be seen by as many people as possible. So that's basically what search engine optimization or SEO really is.
Absolutely. And Kris, I also wanted to add to that when you mentioned about making sure that you have your candidates out there for you. Those little candidates, those are your army. So that's your content, anything that you're putting out there with your message. And those pieces of content that you put out, whether it's on your website or your blog, those are the pieces that are working for you when you're not working, on your website, when you're working in your store running your business. So that's why it's so important to create content and make sure that every piece of content that you create is optimized for SEO, for being found in search engines. And there are a couple search engines out there. Today we'll be focusing primarily on Google, just because Google is probably the number one search engine that people use today.
It is. It dominates the market. There's Bing, right? Yahoo is also sort of a search engine. Google used to be part of Yahoo. It was a service that they used, but Google just out-dominates everybody else.
Yeah, I remember back in the day when we used to have Ask Jeeves. I don't even know if that's around anymore.
It is still out there, but it's such a small part of the search engine world that it plays a small part.
Yeah, Yeah, definitely. And Kris, so with SEO, so why do we need to understand and use SEO in our content?
Yeah, like I was talking about earlier, Google is used by the majority of people today in the world. We commonly hear, let's Google it, right? It becomes part of our modern day activity. We don't say, oh, let's go online and search on the search engine, right? We say, let's just Google it. Where do you want to eat today? Go find something to eat on Google. How do I solve, pie? What's pie? Like, I don't know, go ask Google. Even when they have Google Home now, you practically ask Google everything. It's like Google is like the central thing to our lives today. It's like what connects everybody, right? But we need to understand and accept that Google and other search engines, it can drive significant traffic to our website. If we develop the right contents to our website, we need to understand that majority of the traffic that will be generated to your website that is for free will come from a search engine like Google. And you also have to understand that Google and the search engines, by ranking using SEO, it helps your reputation. I think we talked about this maybe the first few episodes when we talked about reviews, citations, and claiming your listings and stuff like that. Oftentimes, as lingerie store owners and other businesses, you can't avoid negative feedback. You can't please everybody. I don't know if anybody can please anybody. But with those content out there, those negative content that are out there, what you can do is if you optimize your pages correctly, if you optimize more content than those negative contents, it will allow you to push these down into the results so they're likely affecting, having an adverse effect negatively on your business. So we all want to spend time on the immediate result stuff, right? Handing out flyers, posting ads in local newspapers, maybe doing a radio ad here and there. But the other important thing about search engine and Google is the residual value that it gives us. A content that you develop today, you may not get the right traffic tomorrow, but eventually over time, as your website gets ranked more, as Google recognizes more of the content, the quality content that you produce for your business, it will rank more of your content. So more people will be able to see it. And you will then see a dramatic increase, and your website needs to be there to convert them into like an appointment or something like that. But you have to be able to drive the traffic first before you could convert anybody. We're not just saying this from theory, right? We know this for a fact in our own website. I think when we started this process, content marketing plus SEO, about eight or so months ago, we've seen almost a 1,500 to 2,000% increase in the traffic that we've been getting on our website. So this is not just based on fluff. This is based on actionable data that we can recommend to our listeners. So that's really why you need to understand and what's the importance of SEO for today's businesses.
Absolutely. And Kris, I just wanted to add to all of our Lingerie Success listeners, the content that you're putting out there, it doesn't cost any money when you're blogging, when you're posting on Facebook, and it's free. So the only thing that you're spending really is your time. And though time is definitely valuable, it's nice to be able to create content and have that control over the content that you create on your website, on your blog, and not have it cost you any money. And one way that you can optimize it, as we've mentioned, is through SEO. So that's why through our website, through our blog that we have, both Lingerie Success and the Parfait blog, SEO has been a huge part of our plan. It's definitely helped increase visibility online, and it helps search engines find us. So there are a couple keywords that we have that we're ranking on the first page, and also some where we're ranking as the first listing essentially on Google. So that's definitely one of the reasons why we mention it, just because it helps you with being found. And when you're in a town and you have another competitor that might be a couple miles away from you, might even be down the block, it's so important to create that content to make your business stand out, because there are definitely customers out there, and probably even your customers, who are searching and saying, what are the lingerie stores near me? And they're searching lingerie stores near me and then their zip code, and it's coming up. And if you're creating content and you're ranking above your competitor, then they're going to see you first, and they're more likely to go to your store. So SEO and online, your online presence, the content, what you're producing online definitely can have a direct impact on the business that's physically driven to your store. So we wanted to talk a little bit about that. We wanted to talk a little bit about SEO. So Kris, how can local SEO specifically drive business to my store?
According to some statistic I found, let me just read this off to you. 81% of shoppers will do online research before they buy. They're actively searching for solutions, and you want to land in their search results. The next one is 71% of consumers will click on the link from the first page of the results. Less than 6% of content on page 2 and page 3 of content results will result in a click. This makes it obvious that ranking well for local searches is really beneficial. Customers are locally looking for location-based providers, right? Looking for specific businesses to buy from, reviewing, others' perception of your store, and also looking for help, looking for somebody to provide a solution to a problem that they have. So if your website has content for that, you then need to apply SEO strategies to your pages. You've already invested time, money, and effort in developing your content. So you need to apply SEO strategies to give them a better chance to show up on the results, be on the first page, be on the top 1, 2, or 3 of the results. You can also write reviews of products that you sell. You can have other detailed descriptions that you think is relevant for your buyers or your prospects or your customers, blogging regularly about your potential questions that we discussed, I believe, last episode. Again, knowing who your customers are, what content they want, and all of that gives the quality content to your consumers, but then applying the SEO strategies so that they can get found is the next step to that. Local SEO is like a low-hanging fruit. Most searches today have a geographical modifier. What that is, for example, you're looking for a bra store. You're not just gonna put, I need a bra. You're gonna put like bra store near me, bra store 91706, something like that. So what that tells us is if your content has local modifiers in it, you have your address on your website, and then you're providing relevant content, Google then knows that it will serve up your content higher in the results. So it'll help someone from your neck of the woods find the solution that you are offering.
Absolutely, and this is why we did our episode 1 on claiming local listings. So making sure that you're claiming your Google My Business, making sure that you're putting your address on your Facebook page. So that way, like Kris said, when they're searching, you'll be found and you'll come up higher in the search results. And even for your business, sometimes your business page might not even be coming up high in the search results, even though it's your own business, because it's not optimized. So by adding in the important information that your customers are searching from, you're more likely to appear on that first page and be one of the first things that your customers click. And we wanted to talk a little bit about incorporating SEO. So, Kris, what are some good ways to incorporate SEO into my business or my website?
Well, the first thing that you need to do is incorporate this on an on-page strategy. So, including keywords on your titles of your pages, your subheadings, including relevant keywords on the content of your blog, your website description, and any of the content that you have on your website. Even renaming your images to certain keywords, putting alternate tags for people that maybe have the images turned off on their browser or on their phone. Also developing blog articles, right? I keep talking about this almost every single podcast. Producing content is really the key. If you don't have content, most websites have 5 pages. They have the About Us, Service, Contact, Make an Appointment, and maybe a review page or the product of the brands that they're carrying in their store. But that tells you only have 5 players, 5 little soldiers that are doing work for you. Imagine if you had 10,000 of them. I'm not saying to produce 10,000 content, but if you did, imagine ranking for 10,000 keywords. How much traffic will that bring your store? So the on-page strategy is very, very important. The second is, like we mentioned earlier on the podcast, is to ensure that your address is, very specific. Like you have the address in your website, because the listings that you have elsewhere, like your Yelp, your Google My Business, your Facebook listings, and all that stuff. If this matches the content that you have, the geographical modifiers that Google has in their algorithm will allow your content to show up higher on the search results. So, this will, dedicating a page to a town is also another strategy that you could do in regard to this. Like, for example, if you live in a metro area that has maybe 3 or 4 other suburbs, you could develop content specific to another suburb. So you're not only ranking for your specific area, but you're also ranking for the outlying suburbs that you're also servicing too. There's no limit to this. You can produce content. You just have to add a geographical name. Maybe instead of saying, bra store in Los Angeles, we could say bra store in Pomona, bra store in Rancho Cucamonga, bra store in Arcadia, Monrovia, and whatnot. So adding these geographical text into your content on your on-page SEO strategy is also important. The third is you can encourage reviews on your website. If you don't have that function, if you have a blog, turn on comments, because the more conversations that are happening on your website, search engines love conversations because they see what you're producing and what you're writing is relevant to the people that are reading it. If somebody is commenting on something, whether they disagree with your point or they agree with your point, it means that your content is engaging. So Google then uses that as a signal that your content is relevant, engaging, and lists it up higher. A side tip that I want to make sure here is whenever you produce content, you need to promote it on social media. Get it on your LinkedIn, get it on your Twitter, get it on your Facebook, because Google also looks at these as social signals. If they see that social conversations are happening with your content, they'll be more likely to rank that higher. That's why, again, relying on 5-page websites are not enough. Producing content regularly, even if it's just once a month, once a week, whatever it is, you need to be producing content. The length of the content really doesn't matter. The key is you need to produce content on a regular basis. The other thing is quality, right? We keep talking about quality of content. If you haven't, I invite the listeners to please listen to last week's episode where we deal with the topic of developing content that your consumers will love, right? Please do that. And if you haven't installed Google Analytics on your website, I encourage you all to please do. It's free. You can see what keywords people are already searching for that drives them to your website. I understand that SEO is quite a beast to tackle. There's really no way for us to give value by tackling every single nuance of this topic. So with that, I want to encourage people to visit moz.com. We'll make sure that we'll link on the show notes an article about this. Rand Fishkin over there, he's like the foremost expert in search engine marketing. So I encourage you all to visit that. And it goes through a guide of how to get started on SEO. It tells you how to find keywords that you should be ranking for or what people are searching for. And it goes all the way to figuring out what metrics to look for to see if your content or your SEO is working or not. So those are what I want to talk about in regards to that.
Those are some amazing tips, Kris. I also wanted to mention, so like Kris said last week in our podcast episode 7, we talked about producing content that your customers will love. One of the things that we talked about was taking 3 ideas per day, and then after 30 days, having 90 pieces of content. And whether you decide to pursue those 3 every day and you write about them every day, do a Facebook post something on Twitter, post something on your blog, or you decide to store them and then maybe put them in a bowl and choose a topic each day and write about that instead. That's a good idea too. But for us, as far as blogging goes, you can also use blogging to really speak to the life of your customer. And it's a great way to reach her by maybe posting about some of the local things in your town. There are other ways that you can rank for geographical to keywords as well. So by posting about maybe some great restaurants that she can check out, maybe there's a couple favorite places that you love. Maybe there's some architecture, or there's a building or something in town that has great history if you're in a town that has a lot of tourism. And then always link to your store. So definitely include, your store, and that increases the likelihood that if someone's coming out to visit, that they'll make a trip to your store too. But it also provides additional value to your customers, because in their lives, they're not just looking for bras, they're also looking for places to eat, things to do with friends, places to go on dates, all that good stuff, places to go shopping. So by having that on your website and providing that additional value for your customer, you'll rank for it. And then you'll also be able to have content that's a little bit more varied than just blog posts about bras every day. So we would definitely suggest that. And then also, I wanted to mention, so we are definitely huge fans of Moz, but we are not affiliated with Moz. So with Moz, it's definitely a tool that we like to use, and that's why we're linking it and sharing that with you, but we're definitely not affiliated. It's just something that we're huge fans of and that we want to share with you. And I know Kris had some final thoughts to leave you with as well about SEO that are super important.
Thanks, Katie. Well, allow me to leave you with this final thought. Engaging in SEO is not a cost, but an investment, because it will drive residual benefit for your business. It's a crucial piece to your marketing plan and has a significant impact to your consumers' research and buying habits. It can leverage your social sharing and ultimately help your consumers find you and your business. Imagine knowing what your consumers are looking for and searching for, and being there as their hero. Ultimately, this helps you capitalize on weak competition online and provides endless traffic opportunities for your business.
Absolutely. I love that, Kris. Those are definitely some great final thoughts to leave our audience with. I know that, like you said in the beginning, the word dominating in regards to SEO is pretty big. I mean, there's a lot of SEO to tackle. It's dense, like we mentioned. There's no way that we could talk about it all in one podcast, even one day. So definitely check out our link in the show notes for Moz, the Beginner's Guide to SEO. Read up on our show notes. They'll be great this week, if I do say so myself. And then definitely check out some of the resources that we have on our website. We have some great podcast episodes, like we mentioned, episode 1, Claiming Your Listings, and episode 7, Producing Content Your Customers Love. So a lot of the information that we provide on SEO in this podcast, we go a little bit more in depth on those episodes as well. So episodes 1 and 7, great to listen to. And so with that, we did have some homework for you all as well. So for this week, we'd love for you to claim your listings. So definitely check back for a podcast episode 1 if you need just a quick refresher on claiming your listings and where to do so. But definitely do so this week. And then also use an SEO tool like Moz or even SEMrush to determine 3 keywords to incorporate on your website. So even if you only have those 5 pages like Kris mentioned, even if you only have a very, very basic website, it's still important to include keywords. And these 3 keywords, they should speak to your USPs and have a low competition rate. And so we do have some homework for you all as well this week. So number 1, we'd love for you to claim your listings. And this is something that we talked about in podcast episode 1. So if you need just a quick refresher, be sure to go back to that episode and listen to our tips and where you should claim your listings, because that's important. You have to know where you should go. And then also the second thing is to use an SEO tool like Moz or even SEMrush to determine 3 keywords to incorporate on your website. So even if you have a basic website and you have maybe only 5 pages, it's still important to incorporate keywords. And those 3 keywords that you choose should speak to your USPs, so your unique selling propositions, and have a low competition rate. And to learn a little bit more about the competition rate, be sure to check out our resources in the show notes. We'll include a helpful article about understanding what competition is and how to determine if it's a low rate for you to rank with. And then also, don't be afraid to use long tail keywords. So a keyword like the best lingerie store in Las Vegas can definitely help you stand out from your local competition. And then the third thing is to create a post asking your customers, your followers for reviews on Facebook. So most of our listeners have a Facebook page that you use for your business. And it's definitely a good idea to reach out to your customers online and ask for those reviews. Now that you've provided them, amazing experiences within your store, most of the customers, if they've had an exceptional experience or even just a really, really good experience, they'll be happy to leave those reviews for you. So with those reviews, we would suggest maybe creating just a short post. So with a picture that says something like, did you have a great experience at ABZ Bras? Share it with us by rating us and leaving a review. We'd love to hear about your experience at ABZ. And ABZ is just a fictional retailer. So that's a great way to get started. And then we also had a question of the day for you all as well. So we would love to hear maybe some of the lingerie trends that you're excited about this year. So Curve is coming up. We have a couple more shows coming up for the summer and then fall season. So we would love to hear maybe just some of the lingerie trends that you're excited about and looking forward to stocking in your store.
Awesome, Katie. Well, I'd like to invite all of the listeners to visit lingeriesuccess.com to access more episodes, articles, and tips. I also encourage you to join the community on Facebook. Just look for Lingerie Success to connect with us, connect with other lingerie store owners, and share your tips, share your ideas and strategies that help your store thrive. We'll also have a link on the show notes for this. Please also do share, subscribe, leave a rating and review. This incredible information will help us continually provide impactful content that we hope you will find valuable.
Thank you so much, Kris. And as always, thank you all for listening and for being a part of our episode this week. And I wanted to thank Kris and Angel for being here as well. And we will see you all next week.
Happy Memorial's Day.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
This podcast is brought to you by Parfait. For more information, show notes, and downloads, please go to www.lingeriesuccess.com.